Hey guys, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and this time I've got the pleasure of playing in a platoon of tier 10 British medium tanks with Phil and John. Now, I love the Centurion Action 10, it's just so well rounded. Since it replaced the FV4202, I think in patch 9.10, whenever I take it out for a spin, I'm always pleasantly surprised with this vehicle. An excellent 105mm with .32 accuracy and a rate of fire that is just shy of 7 rounds a minute. Still very decent and a little bit better than I believe, for example, the Leopard, the AMX-30B, all of those kind of other accurate 105mm at tier 10. It also has 10 degrees of gun depression, it's got 410 meters base view range, it's got a horsepower to ton ratio of 19 and decent ground resistances, and unlike the FV4202 that it replaced, 53 kilometers an hour top speed limit, which allows you to get around. And me, Phil and John are going to be using that speed to try and push aggressively up towards the northeast corner and hopefully catch some of our opponents by surprise. Now, a platoon of Centurion Action 10s, well, 2 Centurion Action 10s would be brutal for anybody who comes around this corner, but 3 of them, oh gosh, that Centurion 7-1, that has the lowest DPM of any of the tier 9 medium tanks, and he just got absolutely focused down. Now, he's in a platoon with the E50, but it looks like the E50 didn't have the horsepower to be able to get up the slope. John is getting shot here by a 5100, and so what I did there is I pushed my way in front of John to try and protect him, because John effectively took a shot for me and I felt like returning the favor. And when you've got a 5100, that very dangerous tier 8 French heavy tank unloading on the inside of your tracks, also going through your side armor in the Centurion Action 10, that is really dangerous ammo rack material. And I'd like to know if John actually did get ammo racked with the first couple of shots he did take there. Oh, it only looks like one actually penetrated his tank. So the 10 degrees of gun depression, good aim time at 2.1 seconds and .32 accuracy really starting to show on the Centurion Action 10 here, and we just absolutely dominated this flank. Unfortunately, I get hit by the artillery, but I do have a very nice repair crew in this tank, and so I managed to pull back quick, and it looks like the artillery just flew one over. That was very lucky. I'm pretty sure that artillery was aiming for me there, and luckily enough, because I pulled back, he didn't hit me flush, and it flew wide. So, now we had a decision. What should we do with our platoon? Shall we push over into the line of artillery fire? And for all we know, any kind of vehicles that might be skulking around base, that 5100 might reload, the Panther might cause us pain. And so we decide that it's instead best to go through the middle of the map. I'm going to turn right now, and this is where we divide up our platoon. Sometimes it's not correct for 3 tier 10 tanks to all be bombing it along with each other. You have to split up and handle the threats one by one. And for me, that's to go and take out this TVP. So while I make my way north to save the self-propelled gun from the wrath of the TVP T50/51, let's join the battle from the perspective of Phil, who is going to hit this mid-ridge hard with John. And these 2 tier 8 tanks are just not going to really know what hit them. But you know what? These 2 tier 8 tanks, they've really done nothing wrong here. They presumed that our platoon, which looked like they were going to push down the east of the map, would continue to do so, and that so that they would be able to push through the middle. And if we look at the map right now, it looks like they've pushed into a terrible situation, because there are 3 tier 10 Centurion Action 10s holding the mid-ridge, right? But if you take those Centurion Action 10s away, it's very likely that the Lerva and the Ferdinand would be able to push round, take out the Borsig, and then maybe they would have been able to trundle up, kill the artillery, and then start to put some pressure on base. And the Scorpion G and also the VK4502B, very good German tanks, but when they're flanked, you know, not quite so good. And so I think it's very important that we actually realized, right, we're going to push over into a choke point here, something that's very hard to do against self-propelled guns and tank destroyers, and so we pulled back and we hit the mid-ridge instead. And that's really what this teamwork video is all about. It's focusing on positioning and how you can use your platoon to have the greatest impact. Sometimes you're going to need 3 tanks to get the job done. Sometimes you're probably going to be wiser to invest maybe 1 or 2 tanks in different parts of the map. Sometimes you should almost split up altogether and hold different locations to provide view range and crossfire for your team. So John picks up his first kill there on the 5100, I believe. How bizarre is it? That's the first tank that shot us at the beginning of the game, right? The one that I tried to protect John's inner wheel from. But luckily enough, John gets his revenge, taking out the tier 8 French heavy tank. But John is on a warpath here. He's going to push very aggressively in. Well, Phil is going to play more of a supporting role from above. putting one round into the Conqueror gun carriage, and I think he just realizes what John has done. How many of you watched my Meanwhile in World of Tanks video and saw John make a very aggressive push in the AMX 50? Was it the AMX 50B or was it 5120? I think it was a 50B. But unfortunately for John, he gets stung by the IS-3, who also sets him on fire. Some nice marksmanship here by Phil, however, putting a round into the IS-3, and by that point, he was actually going to have to deal with a full health IS-3 on half hit points. He gets a nice ricochet there against the IS-3 and puts one into the Batchat 15558, which definitely is the correct tank to focus on. He blows the head clean off the Tier 10 French self-propelled gun and now turns his attention back to the IS-3. Puts one into the back of the vehicle, setting him on fire. Great result there, and I'm there just in time to be able to shut him down. What plays there by Phil? Great marksmanship, great thinking, great focus fire. And I thought that he was going to lose a hell of a lot more hit points or require my assistance to be able to survive that situation. But luckily he didn't. And he manages to shut down the Conqueror gun carriage. Now let's just take a look to see what I was doing while that happened. So while Phil and John get ready to make a big push down the east, we split our platoon up so that I can provide a policing role or a support role for my team in other parts of the map. The last thing that you really want to do is to overcommit your platoon. If we invest all 3 of our tier 10 tanks pushing down the east, then who knows what the enemy team will be able to achieve on the west, towards the center. Luckily for me, however, the GWE 100 strikes down that AMX 5120, and so that autoloader doesn't have a chance to be able to push down the west. So I decide to make my way into the center of the map. I spot an IS-3 in position, but there's a WZ-132, some nice reactions there, and we take out the Tier 8 Chinese light tank. Stop him from probably pushing up and going after the GWE 100, so we keep him in the game. And now we just have the very lovely situation of just being able to harass a Jagdpanzer E100, who is caught completely out of position here. I have no idea why he just doesn't push straight forwards towards the GWE 100, but it looks like he's figured that out now. We put one round into his side, and here I have a decision. Do I just go and chew up 1,400 hit points, or the Jagdpanzer E100, or do I go and help my friends? And obviously I'm always going to help my friends in this situation. At this point I thought that Phil was going to struggle with the IS-3, the Batchat 15558, probably with the support of the Conqueror gun carriage on the enemy team. And so I make my way to hopefully save Phil from the IS-3, but it doesn't look like he actually needed my help against the IS-3 here, because he set him on fire. And we just come in and put a couple of rounds into him that, well, maybe it would have made the difference if the IS-3 had got lucky against Phil. Or alternatively, if the Tier 10 British self-propelled gun on the enemy team had splashed anywhere near his tank. Because while the Centurion Action 10 does have a variety of awesome features, let's be honest, it's not the most sleek medium tank, is it? It's pretty much the size of a heavy. And its armor, while it does have an okay upper plate and its turret armor is decent, if you're using the 10 degrees of gun depression that this tank has, its side armor is 50mm and its rear armor is 31mm, and it definitely doesn't take a hit. So, all in all, a great round here on Fjords, just showing the little things that really can allow you to have just gigantic games between your platoon. So a great result for our platoon here. We picked up the Crucial Contribution Medal, which is always a pleasure to get at Tier 10 because it requires you to kill at least 12 out of 15 of your opponents. Phil also picks up the High Caliber and a Top Gun, well deserved with the 6 kills, and he did over 6,000 damage. Great result here for Phil. Impeccable marksmanship, I believe 18, 18, 18, showing you what you can do with a steady hand, the .32 accuracy that this gun gets, the 2.1 seconds aim time, and fairly good gun dispersion values. The Centurion Action 10's 105mm is just reliable. So big thank you to Phil and John for this awesome round, and if you want to see us playing together, you can usually catch us on Thursdays on twitch.tv/QuickyBaby. But alas, not this Thursday, and that's because Jingles is coming along. There's going to be another Dream Stream this Thursday, the 13th of October, starting in the evening. 5 o'clock UK time, 6 o'clock Central European time, which I believe is about midday East Coast America. And if the banter between me and Paul is not enough to get you guys to come along, well, I've got something to sweeten the deal. There is going to be another experience mission, 20,000 redemptions that will be available on the European server and the North American server. Everybody who tunes in will have access to the bonus code, which will be revealed on the stream, and if you add it on the Wargaming website, then you are going to get double experience if you finish in the top 5 of your team 10 times on any tank that you want. And one of the best things about this mission is you do have to finish in the top 5, so you're not going to be wasting it on those bad games where you get a very mediocre experience reward. But alas, I can't promise that your team isn't going to no-kill cap all. So hopefully I'll see all of you at 5 o'clock this Thursday, the 13th of October on twitch.tv/QuickyBaby. And so hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider giving it a like. It really helps the channel out. And let me know in the comments what you guys think are the best tanks to platoon in to nail some crucial contributions, especially above tier 6, because I think it doesn't really matter what you play at the low tiers. If you get in the right kind of game with the skilled players, you're probably going to be able to pick up the kills. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.